So for this video, I'm going to show you how to draw a simple house design. So for this, all you need is a pencil, a rubber, and just make sure you've paired your pencil beforehand as well. So the first things, and I will also maybe use a pen just to highlight some of the key things I want in it. So the first two things is we do our lines up at approximately a 30-degree angle here. And approximately a 30-degree angle. And what I mean by that is if we were to draw a line horizontal across like this, and you took a protractor, that angle should be roughly around 30 degrees. It doesn't have to be. If you measure that and it's 20 degrees, if you measure it and it's 40 degrees, well, 40 might be a bit too much. If you measured it and it was 20 degrees or so, it's just, as long as it looks in around what I have there. I'm actually going to highlight this one in red, and I'm going to highlight this one in green. And the reason for that is because every line that nearly every line I'm going to do in this drawing is going to be either going the same direction as this, or the same direction as this, or it'll be going directly up. So let's start let's see, we'll make this the front of our house. So line straight up like so. Next thing we do is we bring a line, just make sure you're doing a parallel with this one. Like so. Now if you're making mistakes, if you find you do it and it's like that, it's off a bit, you just keep going. Keep sweeping your pencil and keep referencing it off that one. But you may need to rub it out, you may need to start again. You might get it right first time, and that's why you want to keep just going over till you get it perfect. 99% of people can draw parallel lines, so there shouldn't be an issue just as long as you follow these rules. So then you come up, so you come across there, and then you bring this line straight up to meet it, and that'll give the front one part of your house. And then now you can, for you see in this video, I'm not going to turn it, bar this time just to demonstrate what you're doing, but I find it easier when I'm drawing these lines to actually revolve my sheet. And then you can make these lines a little bit longer than they need to be, because they're only light lines. They can be rubbed out afterwards and they won't be too visible anyways. So you can revolve your sheet just to make them easier to draw. But for the rest of the video, I'll just leave it straight just for the sake of I think it'll be a little bit easier for you to see. So line coming straight up like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to find a point roughly halfway between here and here. You could take a ruler and you could just measure that. It only has to be. Then do a line straight up. Again, these are all construction lines. Then we're going to go and just put a little dot up there. And we're going to do in the sides of our roof. Now this line that we're doing here is one of the few lines in our sheet that's not going to be parallel with this or this. But you can see we've just found the construction from it by finding halfway here, straight up, approximately about, I don't know, but that height, it's your own, you need to use your own judgment for that. Then we bring another line coming across this direction, parallel with this and parallel with this one. If you find it's not going parallel, just rub it out and just start again. Now, for this line coming here across this direction, any lines, if you think about it, any lines that are parallel in real life are also going to be parallel on this drawing here. So this one you can just go straight up like that, like so, and that line is going to be parallel with that one, just going in the same direction because they're parallel in real life. And what we'll do is I'm going to make a little conservatory going out the side of this. So imagine if we were looking down on top of the house. This is what we call our plan. And I'm just drawing this out just to show you. Imagine you're up in a helicopter and you were looking down on top of the house. I want a little porch out the front like that. And then I want a conservatory that's coming, but it's not just going to be a rectangle. So you rarely see conservatories like that. It's going to actually just have a little bend on it like that. So imagine you're in a helicopter looking down. This is roughly what our house is going to look like. Little porch here, and then we're going to just put a chimney on that side too as well. So let's start doing our porch. So these side lines are all parallel, so you're just going to be going parallel to this one again. We'll come in about that far here, maybe a sort of an equal distance on that side. If you ever want to measure distances, you can, here's a little trick for you. Say if you wanted to make sure that this distance is the same as this one, you just get a piece of paper, just mark off 2 lines like that, and that'll step it out. Now some of you will just do by eye. I do by eye myself, so if you have plenty of practice in it, or if you're pretty good at this, you might do it by eye. But otherwise you can use that trick with the paper. So we're going to come out on this one. Now be careful, if you end up drawing this in and it's a bit like that, look at your line. Is that parallel to that one? No, it isn't. So you get back, you get your rubber, and you go at it again. You constantly, when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at this line and I'm looking at this one and making sure that they're coming out in the same direction. So let's come out. Now it's going to be easier for me if I get rather, I can actually do start off, you basically start off with rectangular shapes because they're the easiest to do, and then you fit the other shapes that you want inside it. So I'm going to actually just start off with a rectangular conservatory. So coming parallel with this one here next. This one coming out parallel with this one. Now sometimes I won't always be happy with some of my lines I've done. I might rub this out again and just make it a little bit more straight. And getting these things right is all about kind of going over it, and you know, if it's not right first time, that's why you have a rubber. So we've got a rectangle here. Now let's turn this into this shape that we want on this. So we're going to take maybe in about there, about this far, and then we want the same on this other side. So I can actually find this point by just coming parallel with these lines, with this line here. But these are all used for construction. These aren't actually part of my drawing, they're just helping me find out where my points are. That's that other point there, that's another point here. You don't need to do them as big as this, so that distance is the same there. Really, I just do a tiny little dot like that, but I'm going to do them bigger just so you can see them yourself. So for this one, we're going to come across like this and then in. So what ones are we going to see? Well, a lot of this might end up being hidden. So come straight up from this point. I'm going to build a little wall coming around at the side. So you get your main kind of overall frame, and then you do your... excuse me. And now this line right here at the bottom, the part coming up on top of it will also need to be parallel here. So we're going to do that wall, and then we're going to do this wall coming out parallel with this one also. Where does it hit this wall here? Well, we just bring a line up from that, and that will find that position for us as well. Now maybe after we might even add in a little windowsill on that as well, but we'll just get our main shape done, and then we can start rubbing it out. We can start adding in a little bit more detail then. So I've got that point coming there, and we'll do some of these lines as well, even though they are, let me see, this is the ground one. Even though some of these will be hidden, we'll draw them in just so we can always rub them out afterwards when we're trying to make our thing look a little bit better. So come straight up from that one. This line here is parallel with this. This is kind of the advanced part where you're, the little bit more advanced part where you're moving off just being parallel to this line. The one going vertical, the one going to the side, and the one going to side here. But you're still going to, after you've worked them out, you can still use the parallel. If the main rule is, if two lines are going in the same direction in real life, if they're parallel with each other, they're facing the same way, they're going to look parallel in this. Same way this is parallel with this. If I wanted to draw something, this part here is hidden, but if I wanted to draw it in, it'll be parallel with that one as well. So you're going to have that thing coming into the side there. Looking over it, when I did this first time, maybe I should have been a bit more careful here trying to keep it parallel with this, but I think it looks okay for the moment, but it could have been a tiny bit better. So we've got these coming through here, and now our conservatory is going to have, let me see, it's going to have windows coming out like this. So what I'm going to do is going to find a point in at the center of, let me see, I'll actually bring a line just coming in just slightly in from that. You see about that distance in. So you can see that there and that there. Then we're going to find a point halfway in between this and this. And then we're going to come straight up. And that is going to give me the top of my conservatory. Bring another line in. Now we can see that this needs to be done again because it's not fully straight, not going fully straight up. And I'll try that one more time. So we're going now this time. It's coming fully straight up. It actually falls on the same line as this one here. Part here, we've got the point it's going to reach up at the top. And then we're going to just come straight up here. We can bring our side windows from that part. This one parallel with this line. This one parallel with this line. So straight up from here. Then we can come, I think this will look a bit more like an actual conservatory we'd see in a house. So we're going to join that to there. And then this one can join from here to here. And that's our side porch then we've in the house. We've got a rough outline of it there. Next thing we can stick in is our chimney. So if you think about a chimney coming down into that, it'll have to come in at an angle the same as this one here. Then we're going to do a line parallel to that. And parallel to these ones again. And then we're going to come down that parallel to that one as well. So that's where our chimney is actually entering into our house. And you're going to come straight up. We're going to come, the tops of our chimney is going to be parallel with that green line right there. We're going to come out parallel with the red line. Now all our top parts are all going to be parallel with our main reference lines. These ones here, colour this one in blue. So this one here, the red again. Then this one here, I'm going to be looking to my green line. If you just try and draw these lines, say if you were doing it and you just tried to make it up by yourself, you might end up getting something like this. And it just won't look like the top of the chimney. So you need to just, if you follow these rules, you'll get it perfect. So we've got our chimney coming in here from the side, and then the next thing we're going to do is draw in two chimneys, the actual pipes that are coming out. So for here, I'm just going to kind of go over how you're going to do a cylinder. This is a circle. If you take the circle, if you could imagine, I don't think I actually. Can you see this topper? Can you see the little circle right there? That looks like a circle, but if I take it and I turn it at an angle, it turns into a thing called an ellipse, which is kind of a squashed circle. So if you want to do a cylinder, you draw a squashed circle like that. So if you want to do it here, they actually have a thing called a major and a minor axis. So this is the full width of your circle, and then this is the shortened part here. So you'll do something like that. And then when you want to do the bottom part of this, you just do a curve that is identical to this curve here. So it's like a parallel, it's equivalent to a parallel line, but it's a curve this time. So you're doing a curve like that and then curve following it in there. So for this one, we'll do our bottom curves straight up and then do our circle like so. Again, you mightn't get that first time. You might need the trick to getting good at this and practicing it is maybe to just go over that a couple of times. So we've got that in here. We'll maybe make our roof come down a little bit off the side of the thing. So it's extending that down out past this line, and then we come parallel from here to here. Now let's do a little porch coming out the front of our house as well. So line straight up, parallel with the red, parallel with the blue. If you end up doing this and you find that you're coming, okay, I'm doing parallel to blue, look at it. Most of you, like, if I was coming around in class and I was trying to make sure that you were doing a better job on this, I'd be just pointing out things like this. If you didn't have a line parallel to this, I'd be saying, well, try and straighten that out. Most of you will be able to observe and do that yourselves just by looking at it. So if you look at it and go, what looks wrong first of all, and then why is it wrong? Well, it should be usually parallel to something, or why was it referenced off a line it was meant to be referenced off? So let's see, this is our porch. Let's make this a little bit bigger. This is sketching is all to do with this, all about kind of using your mind and changing it as possible, changing if it needs to be changed. Very rarely do I'd actually never do if I wanted to do a good sketch. So even this one here, I'm just looking, you just need to be critical. That doesn't look like that is perfect. Let's just try it again. So be critical when you're doing this stuff. Just look at your line. After you've drawn a line, pause, look at it and decide, is it going in the direction that it's meant to go? So all of these lines I'm after drawing here are all referenced off either the red, the blue and the green. And I want you to, just when you're drawing the line, decide before you draw which one is it meant to be going parallel to. So out here, and then this is parallel to your green again. And there's actually, I suppose at this point I'll mention a thing, it's called cumulative error. And that is, it's always a good idea to look at your, say if I wanted to do this line here. It'd be always a good idea to keep an eye on my red line, that one that I've drawn in first. And the reason why is, say if I was to draw a series of steps like so. And these are my three reference lines that I've drawn first. And if I draw this side one, do the side of my step in here, and then I do another line in here. Now, this line that I'm about to draw, if I reference it off, this one instead of this one, it'll be fine for this step, but sometimes you won't always be fully accurate with them. So then when I come up to my next one, so if I copy this is, I've actually purposely made this at a slight wrong angle. You won't really notice it at this point. But what if I come up to the next one now and I try and copy this? And then I come a little bit off with my second one. Okay, let's come up with it for a third one then. Third one, and I come a little bit off further. Now, this line here, if we extend it out, has come way off to my original line. So just always look at the first line, parallel line that you've done, as opposed to looking at every one that's close to it all the time. Always keep it. Sometimes you can keep a little bit of an eye on the one that's right beside it. Sometimes I will do that. That's probably why I got that slightly. Oh no, actually it didn't cause that problem. Sometimes you can keep one on the one that you're just after drawn, but always have a quick glance back to your first parallel line that you've drawn. So what we'll do is make this lean into the side of the house like so, give it a little bit of a roof. Actually, we'll make it a bit like this thing here. So we'll actually make it come in at a bit of an angle. So let's go, let me see. Put a line coming up like this, and then again looking at my red line here. Then we want to, let me see, actually bring a line up like this. The reason I'm doing that is I want to make sure this distance is the same as this one. And the reason I'm doing that is just so I can make this symmetrical. So this side will be the exact same as this side rather than just guessing an angle up here. So you come down this one here and I join this from my outside here, and this is my lean-to roof then. So this is my front porch. Do you know what we'll do is we'll put a little window inside this porch. We'll say the person is actually, there's going to be a little door in this part. And then we'll just stick a window in on this one. Again, references my red line there. Almost everything, bar these angles here, all the ones that are going, all these other lines are all being referenced off my first three. And if you're doing anything for drawing technology projects, often you'll just be looking at them three lines. So stick them here, stick out a little windowsill, everything. Actually, even the details inside the window, we just do the same. We're always following the same rule, right down to the smallest lines that you're drawing. So even if I want to draw this bit in the middle of the window like so, we're still referencing these straight up lines. We'll put a little windowsill. So even if I want to do something small like that, I'm going to go parallel to this green one. Take your time. These sketches are actually, if you can, they're actually not too bad to do if you just follow these rules. Sometimes if you just draw something, but you don't reference it to anything, that's when things will go wrong. So there's our window sitting inside here. We put another little thing here, drawing a little handle there. Now, this is where we start adding in our detail. Let's go up into our roof then. Let's start adding in some little tiles here. We'll do the same in at the top as well. So we just draw straight lines all coming along on this roof, all parallel with this red one again. You start off drawing them light if you want at first, and then build them in. These ones are all parallel with this, which is I'll be honest now, when I'm drawing this, I am actually just looking at this line, but I'm keeping a general idea line on this, a general look at that line. Okay, so we've our roof drawn in, and we're going to just start adding in our little slates. So they should be coming down all parallel to, and this is a little bit more tricky. They won't actually be parallel to this line. They'll be parallel to a line coming from here to here. But they're so small that you may not actually even notice these ones. And then in like so, and we could add in a little gutter here as well. So you can go into as much detail as you want with this thing. It's just about kind of building it up slowly, step by step. Put in some of our windows here at the side. Let me see. I'm actually just going to top up my pencil. It's important to keep that sharp, especially when you're doing some of your finer details. I'm actually just going to do some little patterns in my windows here, add in little details like the windowsill. Even see that tiny line I'm after drawing, making it parallel to that green one. So I'm still looking at my references. I'm going to put that a little angle on that one. This out at this side here. There's my windowsill. Let's do a top window. These will all be repeated. Let's keep that in line there. We're just doing a light construction line. And I'll actually just bring a line coming straight across like that, just to keep everything. Again, rubbing stuff out. If you want to make it so I might get these ones coming up here. That like so. Put a tiny window up here at the top. Actually, let's make it just a little bit more interesting. Actually make this one circular. Now just remember, you're doing a circle there. It's getting tilted, like we looked at our topper earlier on. It's getting tilted this direction. It's kind of tilted back like that. So it's not going to look like a full circle. It's going to be this part here will be slightly shorter than this. So this should be the actual width of the circle, and then this will be shortened down slightly. So we're going to put this in here, put a little bit of a windowsill on it as well. And then just make it circular like so. And then we can put our other, let's see, I'm trying to decide what height to put this window here. I'm just going to come along like that. And then along from here to here. Okay, so that's that part there then. Next thing we can do is do a little gutter on the top of the roof. I'm going to pretend there's a rough stone sort of a pattern on the front of the house. We'll just draw little sections of our bricks in there. So these are just tiny little lines coming there like that. Actually, maybe not put them where my window should be going. This should be coming straight across like this. And this one coming out like so. Down like this. Then straight up. Using the rubber if you need to. Okay, so then the next thing we could do is do our side parts here. Now, you think about this roof, we're going to actually see a side part on it there. So it's just going to be a line parallel with this, but just not very far from it at all. Can actually just put a little thing on the top of the roof as well. Usually if a piece of, it's called lead flashing, they'd put it to kind of seal up the very top of your roof there. Now we can start doing our lines for our slates. They're all going to be parallel. Let's look at my red line to reference these. This one here mightn't have been perfect, so now I suppose I'm lying when I say that I'm always looking at this red one. I'm probably keeping it more in line with this roof because I have this all kind of set up, so I just need to make sure that these lines are going parallel to these outside ones. I wonder, is the thickness of them okay? Well, I have to think about. Yeah, we'll say sure they're big tiles because it'll take me all day to do them otherwise. If you wanted to do more detail, you could make, I'd say, if you want to make smaller tiles, make this a little bit narrower but follow the exact same process. For the sake of just showing you how to do this, I'm going to fly through it. keeping an eye on this one all the time. Now for this next part, we'll find out where our window is going to go around here. They should be roughly around the same height. So we'll bring a line parallel to this, line parallel to my green one, and then up. Do one window here. Do a little windowsill like that. Keep them parallel to this green one. You can see them a little bit off on that, so I'll do it again. Do another windowsill in here. Now, get into our conservatory, we're going to need to put some details into this. So this part here is going to be block. This is just going to be concrete, and then we can just put little windowsills sitting out the side of these ones. So let me see, we'll just come fill that in heavier, that one. Draw our windowsill out to the side of that. Again, a parallel line to this one here. Keeping an eye at my reference green. And that, I'll do it all coming around the outside of that. And then okay, so that's my side parts done, and then obviously in any conservatory you'll have these little pillars here. That'll be what all our windows will be sitting in between. Then this one down here, like so. And do all these side parts in like this. And so at this stage you basically have your whole model done at this point, and you're just you're just filling in details. So any of you are artistic, you'll find this pretty easy. Do you know what I mean? We have our whole all the work, all the stuff about keeping stuff in parallel is all done at this point. You can start adding people in here. You can add whatever other details you want. And actually, now that I think about it, I was saying earlier on we wouldn't see these points, so let's go back to this line that we had coming in here. You actually will see it because it's going to be a conservatory. So let's see, let that come parallel to this red one. It's coming to this point, and let me see, this goes, there's another part coming parallel to here and here. It's actually be a little part that you can see on this back side. And we'll put our top of our roof here, and just for the sake of it, we'll add in an extra supporting part here as well, coming parallel then to that line. And then we'll just put a little ornamental feature here at the top. And then you can see, you should be able to see that coming through on this side. And you can go over that with your rubber. You can rub out any of the lines that you feel that shouldn't be there. If there's anything like any of your construction lines that you did, you can go over all of them. It's not an exact science. There's not a... The main thing I want you to take out of this video is just how can I draw a 3D object? How can I keep it all looking in proportion? How do I do it so the whole thing doesn't look wonky? And how do I know what direction my lines are going? So good luck with that now. And try your best. And remember that practice makes perfect. You might try it your first time. It mightn't work out great, but it's the most important thing is that you look at it and you highlight the areas that you've not done fully correctly, and you improve and work on them.